What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pleeka. I'm Jerome.
And I'm Nick.
And today we're talking about the Black Lightning finale.
Whose life is this?
Mine.
And what are you gonna do with it? An eye for an eye doesn't solve anything. Just makes the whole world blind. All the blood, broken bones, pain you suffered. Only you'll ever know if it was worth it.
Black Lightning, season finale this Tuesday at
We
9.
made it to the end of Black Lightning.
So you seem a little disappointed.
I was disappointed only because I was looking forward to him and Tobias fighting and like that being resolved. I didn't know until this episode that the point of the season was to build up Tobias to be the king of Freeland and like be the big bad next season, because I always saw him as the big bad this season. But apparently in their eyes, it was the ASA and just building him up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I was disappointed at that end, but I did really like the episode. I just thought, like, I think you're right. Like, it seems like the way they're telling the story is you're gonna be able to watch season 1 and season 2, and it's just continuing the story. Almost as like every episode is like a chapter, like almost like a real comic book,
Right.
in a way.
Right.
And that's just not what I expected. But yeah.
I didn't really have expectations. I thought Tobias would get away. I didn't know he wouldn't even fight him.
Yeah, I kind of figured that too, and then
And then
he would be like because every show has that one villain, like all these comic book shows that comes back always. I thought that'd be him.
I have decided that he's the most evil villain on the CW.
Yeah, he's just wacko.
Wacko and evil.
Yeah,
and
also I think that Khalil is the maybe stupidest looking villain on the CW.
That could be.
But like, no, he looks fine. Only when he shoots his little things. That's so dumb. They gotta figure out something new for that for season 2.
Yeah.
He looks like a wannabe Power Ranger, or like he's like a hall monitor. Like, where's your pass?
Wow.
Like, it's so lame doing that.
It was funny how you've got 13 episodes. They don't really explain a whole lot. They make you like figure stuff out, and then in the beginning of this episode, I'll tell you what, we're just gonna explain everything to Jennifer.
Well, first it's like
So you
first
know
you got
what's going
a 5-minute origin scene of Black Lightning kind of with his dad.
I kind of like that.
I did like that. You got that, which that was neat. And then we got him be like, okay, well, this is what this bad guy's origin is. Oh, and then you want to know this bad guy's
okay,
origin.
so Tobias has the strength of 3 men, and we're like, where the fuck did this come from? I'm like, well, I knew he was strong. I didn't know.
I'm really glad she asked a question. She should ask him more questions.
Yeah, they should hang out more. We could get the whole fucking story.
Yeah, that was funny though, because you're like, well, that's the most information we've got all season.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that they don't tell you everything. They want you to figure it out.
It was funny though. They just kind of waited till then to do it.
It was almost like the CW was like, okay, so can you explain a few things to the audience?
It wouldn't surprise me if it got to that point. Like, just make sure they know this, because those guys are gonna still be around in season 2.
Yeah.
So kind of let them know how powerful
And
they
they're
are.
like, Jesus fucking Christ. Okay, so.
I'm really happy that Jennifer started using her powers and seems to really like it. Like, I loved it. I loved at the end when she flipped Star-Lord's grandpa. That's the NSA agent or ASA agent we figured out. I think I said NSA the whole time.
Maybe.
she flipped him up in the air, threw him back down, and he's like, Jennifer! She's like, whatever, and flips her hair. That was so fun. I was like, oh, she's back to her normal self, because she's been sad the past, like, 2-3 episodes.
Yeah, and she was my favorite, so, like, I like that, too.
Yeah, her doing that, and then, like, when she saved her mom, too, I was like, oh, sweet, I like her being badass.
And her mom was kind of a badass this episode.
Yeah, pulling on a shotgun, shooting everybody. You know, those guys' bulletproof vests are useless.
It's weird that 3 people can get shot coming into a room and there's no blood.
And then what's funny, I thought that was like, oh, yeah, it's CW, whatever. And then at the end, when they shoot the guy who told them they needed specific thumbs to buy it, that girl shot him in the head, there's blood.
Yeah.
I was like, what the fuck? Like, you can only have one or the other, man.
Yeah. That's funny.
But so, since this is the finale, let's talk about the entire season. What would you rate this season, like, compared to, like, your other favorite CW superhero shows?
Well, it's better than Supergirl.
I mean, you could go look at a turd outside, and that's better than most episodes of Supergirl.
It's pretty good. I like it. I'll be looking forward to the second season.
Yeah, I am too. Which is funny, because going into this, you weren't really looking forward to it. So
No.
I'm glad you are, like, next season and all. That's cool.
Yeah. I liked it.
It kind of reminds me of, like, the edginess and, like it's new and fresh of, like, Arrow. Like when I first started watching Arrow, it reminds me of like first starting watching these shows and like, because of this show, like you said, they don't explain anything, so I didn't know anything. When I first watched Arrow, I didn't know anything about comic book shows and anything like that.
God,
that
really?
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's what it reminds me of. So like it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's always hard for me to pick which one of these shows are my favorite because it seems like it changes almost every other week. Because like it's like one's good, one's good, you know. But this is definitely up there with
this episode. I thought was really good.
I think this season, but there was only one episode this season that we didn't like.
Yeah.
Granted, there's only 13 episodes, so it's pretty easy to do. But
Flash is always my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Even like tonight's episode of Flash, like I was disappointed because they took one of my favorite guys.
Yeah.
But Flash is always my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say it's as good as Arrow this season. Mind you, the last couple episodes of Arrow I don't think have been
the best.
The best, and it started out real good, and then this one's real good. So like this one is high, and who knows if Arrow's good Thursday, I'd be like, oh, but it's definitely up there with those two.
Yeah, I think like at least for me, because Arrow's been my favorite, but like then again, the Flash is like right there, and like it kind of differs. But I think it's like Arrow, Flash, Black Lightning are the top, and then Legends is really close too, because this season of Legends
I don't know,
was great. Last season of Legends and the second half of season 1 were kind of shitty of Legends, but then season 3 Legends is pretty good the majority of the episodes. Supergirl on the other hand, that could still go. I wish this show would have replaced like Supergirl's time slot, and then we'd be fine doing these videos and shit.
Yeah, the funny thing is this episode was so good I'm not even tired.
That's one thing I want to change. This has nothing to do with the show, really. Is I want it to be on a different date next season. I don't like it on right after Flash.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah, it makes for a long night for us.
It's partly because there's so many other shows on Tuesday night too.
Yeah.
It's hard to want to watch everything, especially when we do videos on it. But I mean,
our DVR can't take it.
It's not the end of the world, but I would really prefer that. And I don't know. Yeah. I don't know if they will. I think they're changing something up with Supergirl being on later and Legends and all that shit.
What's on Wednesdays? Oh, Riverdale.
Yeah, Riverdale.
And people watch that, right?
Yeah, people love that show. It's pretty shitty. This season started out great. But so anything else you really liked about Black Lightning this season that you want to point out?
Just Tobias.
Yeah, he's a very good villain. I actually really like Lala.
I like Lala too.
We should talk about that a little bit. They didn't touch up on him much after he blew up, so I hope he's not dead.
But he has to be.
I feel like he has to be, and if he is, that's fucking pointless. Because like he even said, "Oh, I'm just gonna keep coming back to you," you know.
Yeah.
And like he's like, every person you kill is gonna get tattooed on you, tattoo man, and like they did the whole thing, and then he blows up, and like that seems very pointless if that's the end of Lala. I guess that'd be my one thing I didn't like about the finale is if Lala is really dead.
I don't know how he couldn't be.
Well, because they brought him back to life, so maybe some kind of supernatural thing where he like
doesn't die.
Yeah, I don't know.
He beat the shit out of him when he punched him. He's like that one punch.
Yeah.
And he's like, you hit like a bitch. I was like, Jesus.
And then it seemed like saying that word too like froze him. I like too that we got to reveal that it was all because of Tobias, that he got put back together and brought back to life.
Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty cool reveal. Yeah, overall, I think this was a very good season. I'm looking forward to season 2.
Yeah, me too. I really liked it, and I think Tobias will be a good villain in season 2, and it's weird,
especially because like it seems like no one will be in his way, so he'll be at his most evil.
Yeah, and like, I mean, he's gonna have to fight him the whole season. He can't just like beat him fucking episode 1.
Yeah,
it'd be pointless, but. It'll be interesting how they handle that. Like, are they gonna like I don't know what the story will be, but like Jennifer and Nissa, will they have to like fight like a different bad guy every week? That it doesn't seem like they want to do it that way.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
You know?
Do you think next season's gonna stay at 13 episodes, or do you think after this, because it's so popular, CW is gonna want to bump it up?
Oh, I didn't even think of that.
Because with iZombie was a show that was on right after Flash, 13 episodes, and then I think it was season 2. They bumped it to 22 or 23, and then people didn't like it as much, so they put it back to 13.
Oh, really?
So it'll be interesting to see if that changes.
You would think they would go to the same as Flash and Arrow, but I don't know.
Because if it doesn't, they could air when they come back too, and it'd be a whole big thing.
Yeah.
And, like,
plus they'd have that crossover to do.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if they are involved in the crossover. For how good the show is, it won't
It would seem like
It won't really matter, but I feel like it would only help.
It's so different from the other shows, but you.
Yeah.
But
I feel like everyone else would only be better with them in it, and like they would be like. I feel like it would be almost a dumb choice not to.
yeah.
But at the same time, I'd be fine. But I feel like it'd be cool if they did.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
But any last things you want to say?
No. Well,
All right. Well, that's it for our Black Lightning review. We'll be back next week for Flash. I almost said Black Lightning. And if you haven't checked out our Flash review this week, go check it out right now. And we'll see you guys next week.